What if I told you the richest man who ever lived wasn't black? That Mansa Musa, the African king whose wealth was so vast it destabilized entire economies, was actually white? Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, that's exactly what's being claimed in videos with hundreds of thousands of views. Today, we're diving into the evidence to see if there's any truth to this claim. Stick around, because what we find might shock you. Before we dive into the controversy, let's establish who we're actually talking about. Mansa Musa ruled the Mali Empire from 1312 to 1337. His wealth was so immense that modern economists struggle to even calculate it. Some estimates put his fortune in the hundreds of billions of dollars in today's money. Though, of course, this is just an approximation. In 1324, Mansa Musa embarked on his famous pilgrimage to Mecca. Passing through Cairo with 60,000 people, 12,000 silk-clad servants, and 80 camels carrying gold, he gave so much of it away that it triggered massive inflation. Gold lost value, and it took over a decade for the economy to recover. His empire included Gao, Timbuktu, and Jenne, some of the wealthiest cities in the medieval world. So why do some people insist this legendary African emperor was white? Across certain corners of the internet, several key claims keep repeating. The medieval maps were altered. Moorish images were changed. Senyor negro doesn't mean black, and the region supposedly wasn't called Land of the Blacks. These claims are loud, but are they true? Let's start with the maps. The 1375 Catalan Atlas doesn't just depict Mansa Musa as black. It labels him Senyor Negro. In medieval Catalan, that means Black Lord, period. The same map shows figures of different ethnicities side by side. A white Muslim traveler is drawn right next to Mansa Musa. The mapmaker clearly differentiated groups. The 1339 Dulcert map is older and less detailed. It uses symbolic figures. Even the Queen of Sheba is white in this version. It wasn't meant as ethnographic reality. So no, the Catalan Atlas wasn't altered. It was more advanced. Maps are important, but people who lived during Mansa Musa's lifetime are even better evidence. Arab historians consistently call the region Bilad al-Sudan, Land of the Blacks. Ibn Battuta visited Mali in 1352, just 15 years after Mansa Musa's death, and described its people as Black Africans. Al-Umari interviewed witnesses who met Mansa Musa in Cairo. His account also identifies him and his entourage as black. None of these sources have any stake in modern racial politics. They were just documenting reality. Mansa Musa's family history tells us even more. His full name, Musa Keita I. The Keita clan belongs to the Mande people of West Africa. Mansa is a Mandinka royal title that predates Islam in the region. Oral traditions trace his ancestry back to Sundiata Keita, founder of the Mali Empire. These oral records are detailed and consistent. The Timbuktu chronicles, written by West African scholars, document the same lineage. And modern genetic studies of Mande populations confirm their clear West African roots, aligning perfectly with the historical record. Another myth claims medieval images of Moors were blackwashed. They often point to Libro de los Juegos, a Spanish manuscript from 1283. But this claim falls apart instantly. The manuscript includes many different illustrations showing Europeans, Arabs, and Black Moors in different chess problems. The Black Moor chess illustration is original. No one painted it over. This myth relies on people not examining the source material. Some conspiracy theories pivot. He wasn't European. He was a white Berber. But Berbers were ethnically distinct from Mande rulers. Medieval sources clearly separated Berber traders from Mali's indigenous leadership. Mansa Musa's authority came from Mande traditions. A Berber outsider claiming Mansa would have had no legitimacy. The Berber theory fails historically, genealogically, and politically. At this point, the evidence is overwhelming. So why does the myth persist? Because it fits a long pattern of historical revisionism, especially by colonial and white supremacist narratives. When Africans built Great Zimbabwe, Europeans said Phoenicians did it. When the Dogon people mastered astronomy, they said it must have been aliens. When Africans ruled Egypt, they said they weren't really black. Mansa Musa stands as living proof of African wealth and power during an era when Europe lagged behind. And that terrifies people invested in whitewashed history. Let's celebrate who Mansa Musa really was. He ruled one of the largest empires in the world, expanded education, and turned Timbuktu into a beacon of learning. University of Sankore became a global hub for scholarship. He commissioned Jingireber Mosque, designed by Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, still standing nearly 700 years later. His pilgrimage to Mecca established diplomatic ties that reshaped trade networks across Africa and the Islamic world. Mansa Musa was a black West African emperor and the richest man who ever lived. The white Mansa Musa myth isn't unique. It's part of a larger ongoing attempt to erase black history and downplay African achievement. But facts speak louder than falsehoods. Every credible historical source identifies Mansa Musa as black. Every credible map, chronicle, and lineage points to West Africa, and no revisionist narrative can change that. So, was Mansa Musa white? Number. Absolutely not. The evidence, maps, texts, oral histories, linguistics, is unanimous. Mansa Musa was a black West African of the Keita clan. His wealth, achievements, and legacy belong to African history. The richest man believed to have lived in history was a black African king. Perhaps that's something many people will just have to embrace and deal with. If this video opened your eyes to how African history gets rewritten, hit that subscribe button.